up, YouTube? It's your girl Erlen, and I'm back with another video. So as y'all can see by the title, y'all already know what video we're doing today. So go ahead and get everything y'all need and go ahead and get comfortable, because this story time gonna be a little juicy. This story took place when I was in the 8th grade. We're gonna call the girl I fought, we gonna call her Cassandra. So like as I go through the story time, I'm gonna be naming the people. I'm not gonna name them right now, but I'm gonna name the people. So like I said, this took place when I was in the 8th grade. So when I was in the 6th grade, I tried out for the cheerleading team. I did not make it. That's a little side story. I can go ahead and tell y'all the side story of why I didn't make it. Long story short, when I tried out, my science teacher was the judge of the cheerleading. Like, she was the judge for the tryouts, and my science teacher did not like me. So I guess I didn't make it because of her. Well, I feel like I didn't make it because of her, and that's just how I feel, and it's the story that I'm sticking with, because that lady did not like me for nothing. Okay, so fast forward, I'm in the 7th grade. Well, yeah, fast forward, at the end of my 6th grade year, I tried out for cheerleading again so I can be a cheerleader in the 7th grade. And I ended up making it, had to go to summer camp and all of that. Boom. So fast forward to the 8th grade. 8th grade, I became captain of the cheerleading team. And you know, when you the captain of the cheerleading team, you basically, like, you got to set an example for everybody else. Like, you can't be doing certain stuff. And, like, you got to, basically, like, you have to be a leader, basically. So when I was in the 8th grade, Cassandra was in the 7th grade. So Cassandra had a boyfriend. We gonna name him Jay. So Jay was in the 8th grade with me. So everybody knew everybody. Like, really, like, didn't nobody like really know like the 6th graders. Like, we knew some of the 6th graders, but basically like all the 7th and 8th graders knew each other. And like, if you was in a relationship with somebody, like, they knew that you was in a relationship. So yeah, Cassandra and Jay was in a relationship. So I'm to find out, Jay liked me. I knew Jay liked me, but I mean, like, I didn't like Jay, so I didn't want to talk to Jay. But Cassandra knew Jay liked me, and Cassandra didn't like me because her boyfriend liked me. One day we was in the gym, and I'm walking with Cassandra's cousin. At the time, I did not know that this was Cassandra's cousin. We're going to call her Tiana. So, me and Tiana, we was friends. Little backstory. The way me and Tiana became friends, I used to talk to Tiana's cousin back when I was in the... I think I was in the 7th grade when I was talking to Tiana's cousin. But, or was I in the 8th grade? No. I think I was in the 7th grade, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I was in the 7th grade talking to Tiana's cousin, but me and him stopped talking. So, yeah, that's how me and her became friends, because their sister, I mean, that, the boy that I was talking to, that's Tiana's brother. So, yeah. So, at the time, I did not know Tiana and Cassandra was cousins. So, one day we was in the gym, me and Tiana, we just walking, like, me and her just walking and we talking. And Cassandra just come over there to us out of nowhere. And mind you, okay, so me and Tiana, we're walking, we're talking, like, but we got our arms locked in. Y'all know how you and your friend, y'all walk with y'all arms locked together. Me and her was walking with our arms locked together. And she just came over there and she just she didn't like just snatch her away, but she came over there and she pulled her and she locked her other arm around her and she was like, come walk with me. And like basically saying like I couldn't go and walk with them. Mind you, I knew Cassandra didn't like me, but I didn't care that Cassandra didn't like me. But like the reason I didn't like Cassandra was because she used to do like little petty stuff. Like, she just used to do like little slick stuff, and I didn't like that, because I'm like, girl, you being petty with the 8th grade. Mind you, Cassandra was in the 7th grade. I was in the 8th grade at this time. And I'm like, girl, I'm not finna scoot to your level. Like, you a child. Like, when I was in the 8th grade, I thought everybody that was in the 6th grade and 7th grade, I'm like, y'all are kids. I'm grown. Like, mind y'all, I'm still a kid myself. So, yeah, I'm just like, girl, I'm not finna be petty with you. Like, you're a kid. Like, I'm not finna be petty with you. So, boom, I let her do whatever she do. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna say fast forward like a couple months. Still going on Cassandra being petty. Like, she just doing little stuff. Every day after school, I had to stay for cheerleading practice. Well, not every day, but most days after school, I had cheerleading practice. So, but on this particular day, I had to stay after school because later that night, I had a game. So all the cheerleaders had to stay after school. We had to like right after school, like right after we get from the buses, like talking to everybody, all the cheerleaders had to go all the way up to the 6th grade hall. So 6th graders had their own hall, 7th graders had their own hall, and 8th graders had their own hall. But we always had practice on the 6th grade hall. Like, every day after school, we had practice every day on the 6th grade hall. One day, my cheerleading coach, well, every day, like, she'll leave and go and pick up her son. So this particular day, normal routine, she leaves, she go and pick up her son, but she tell us, she like, okay, well, y'all, while I'm gone, y'all need to be practicing these cheers so y'all can do them right when we go out there on the floor or whatever. So I'm like, it's like for the game or whatever. So since I'm the captain, she left me in charge, and like, I had to, like, basically, like, make sure everybody, like, was practicing and everybody was doing their cheers and all of that. So while she gone, like, we're practicing, we're doing our cheers, like, we're just practicing. And, like, we practiced for about a good, I want to say 15-20 minutes. So we ended up taking a break, and, like, they ended up asking me, like, Erin, can we go to the park for a little bit or whatever? And I'm like, cool. I'm like, I mean, I don't care. So the way the school was set up, so we had a elementary school all the way on the other side. So yeah, we had an elementary school. So we had an elementary, a middle, and a high school. The elementary was all the way on the other side. But how can I explain this? So the elementary school was all the way on the other side, and you had to go all the way around to the middle school. Now, the middle school and the high school was connected to each other. Like, it was on the 6th grade hall at the top, these double doors. Like, we went, like, that's how you get to the high school. And we didn't have a library in the middle school, so whenever we went to the library, we'll always have to go to the high school side to go to the library, because the middle school didn't have a library. Like, since it was connected together, the middle schoolers and the high schoolers shared a library. So, like, whenever middle schoolers was in the library, we'll see high schoolers and stuff in the library. So that don't really matter. I'm just giving y'all extra information. So yeah, but anyway, so they ended up asking me, like, oh, can we go and chill at the park for a little bit and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah. So I ended up having to use the restroom. I was planning on going to the park with them, but I had to use the bathroom. So I'm like, y'all can go ahead and just walk to the park. I'll meet y'all there. So me and Tiana, ended up staying, like, after school with me because she was gonna be at the game. She didn't end up going home because I guess she didn't have a ride. Like, she wasn't gonna have a ride back to the school, so she just ended up staying at the school until the game was over, and then she was gonna go home. So me and her in the bathroom, we're talking. I use the bathroom, and then I go and fix my hair and stuff up, and then I'm like, come on, we can go and walk to the park. So, oh, that's what I was saying. So the way that the school was set up, like I said, the elementary school was on one side, and you had to go all the way around to go to the middle school and the high school. Well, you really didn't have to go all the way around. Like, you could cut through this little cut. This little cut gonna make sense in a minute. So you could walk through this little cut from the middle school, and you will be at the back of the elementary school. Like, you'll be in the parking lot of the elementary school that's in the back. So that's where we started walking there. We started walking to the elementary park. So we had two parks. We had a big park, and I can't say the name of the park. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the name of the park. But yeah, we had a big park and we had an elementary park. So So yeah, me and Tiana, we walking over there to the elementary park or whatever, because that's where everybody at. So while we walking, I ended up seeing this girl that I was friends with. We gonna call her Jada. So I ended up seeing Jada. Me and Jada, we talking like, I can't remember what me and Jada was talking about, but me and her was talking. And like, I just don't remember what we was talking about. We couldn't have been talking about, I don't know. But we was there talking for a good little minute. So mind you, me and her just talking like, I got my back turned, like we're standing up, but the way it is, she's looking, the way she's looking, like she could see the street, but the way I'm looking, I could see the football field. So yeah, basically I got my back turned to the streetway. So all of a sudden, me and Jada just sitting there talking. All of a sudden, me and her hear like, yeah, there they go. So mind you, me and like, I'm confused. So I turn around because I'm like, ooh, like who about to get the fight? Like y'all already know, like once y'all hear somebody like cussing real loud and doing all that extra stuff, you already know something finna go down. So I turn around. I'm like, ooh, who finna fight? So I turn around. It's Cassandra, her sister. We gonna call her sister. We gonna call her sister Brianna. And they was walking with their other sister. We gonna call her Kayla. So Brianna, Cassandra, and Kayla was walking with a group of people, like it was boys and girls mixed together. So when they said that it go and I turned around, y'all, they was looking dead at me. So I'm confused because I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? I'm like, bro, like, what's going on? So I'm confused. I'm trying to see why everybody's just sitting there looking at me. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm already knowing what's about to go down. I'm like, man, I already know what's about to happen. So I'm like, you know what? I ain't got time. So I turn back around and I look at, I was gonna say her real name. I look at Jada and I was like, I'm about to go back to the school, Jada. I'm like, cause I ain't got time. I was like, I got a game tonight. I ain't got time for all the extra stuff. So as I'm walking, like, I ain't turn my back to them, mind you, because I'm like, nah, like, I was taught to never to turn my back to nobody. Like, I was not doing it. So I'm walking backwards, like, still looking at them. As I'm walking backwards, like, I'm walking back to the middle school, like, behind that little alley, like, behind the parking lot area where the elementary was, behind the elementary school, where the parking lot was. I'm walking back that way. Mind you, as I'm walking, that crowd is walking towards me. So I'm like, I'm over here trying to diffuse the situation. You trying to make it worse. I'm like, okay. So, I was gonna say her name again. So, Jada, at first Jada stayed right there. Like when I started walking back to the school, she stayed right where we was talking at. But when she saw the crowd walking to me, she started walking, basically like walking where I was. So we get behind the elementary school, the parking lot or whatever, and I stopped because I'm like, you obviously gonna follow me until I stop. I'm like, so I ended up stopping right there. And so basically she was just like, yeah, bitch, you trying to fuck with my nigga and this and that, and like he don't want you, you ugly as fuck, and da 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 da. My job, I'm finna insert a picture of what I look like in the 8th grade. I'm not ugly now. What makes you think I was ugly back then? I mean, you know, I done grown a little bit, but girl, you know I wasn't ugly. Like, why you even trying to play like that? You know I wasn't ugly. And if you see this, you know I was not ugly. You just wanted something to say because you couldn't say nothing else. Yeah, she just standing there like just talking outside her mouth. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Like she not finna do nothing. Like she just sitting there talking. So I ended up turning around. That's when I turned around because I'm like, girl, you really not finna do nothing. Like, you just sitting here talking. So I turned around and I'm walking back to the school because I'm like, you sitting here talking. Like, if you don't want to fight, then just say you don't want to fight. Like, I'm not finna sit here and argue with you. So I started walking back to the school. When I turned my back, I started walking back to the school. She was like, you walking away because you scary. I turned back around. I'm like, who's scared? I was like, who's scared? I was like, I'm not scared of you. I was like, I got a game in about an hour. I'm finna go get ready for my game. I was like, I'm not worried about you. Yeah, I turned back around. She was like, yeah, go on here to go back to that school with your shaky ass. That's where she drew the line. I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to the school because she just gonna keep running. I was like, she gonna keep running her mouth like she always do. I ended up turning back around, and so her sister was just like, y'all just need to fight. Y'all just need to fight. And I'm just standing there. I'm just like, okay. So Jada standing right there. Jada was like, if y'all gonna fight, then y'all gonna fight. She was like, but it ain't gonna be no jumping. She was like, cause she by herself. Her sister not here. Mind you, everybody knew who my sister was, cause me and my sister, our name is alike. My sister name is Ariel, and our last name is alike. My name is Erilyn. Even teachers, like, when I would get her old teachers, they be like, is you Ariel's sister? And I be like, yeah, that's my sister. And they be like, oh, so I didn't know Ariel had a little sister and all of that. So yeah, Jada was like, if y'all gonna fight, then y'all gonna fight, but y'all not finna jump her because she by herself. She ain't got nobody here with her. She was like, so if y'all jump her, I'm jumping in and I'm gonna help her. Basically like she was saying, like, if y'all try to jump her, I'm gonna fight y'all too, cause y'all not finna jump her. Basically, like she was saying, like, y'all can get y'all one-on-one, but y'all not finna jump her. So Cassandra was just like, okay, I can get my one-on-one. I want my one-on-one, cause she steady think that she could talk to my nigga and think that it ain't gonna be no consequences. I'm like, girl, that nigga don't even want you. Mind y'all, that he was talking to a whole nother female that was in our grade, that was in the 8th grade, because me and him was in the 8th grade. Cassandra was in the 7th grade. So he was talking to a whole nother girl that was in the 8th grade that Cassandra did not know about. So, yeah. So, all I know is I'm standing there. I'm just standing. Okay, so let me backtrack. So it was also this boy. He was recording the fight. So this dude was just like, yeah, like, y'all not finna jump her because she here by herself, and like, I'm gonna help her, like, because y'all not finna sit here and jump this girl when she by herself. So he was just sitting there recording the fight, and like, if y'all see this video, y'all know who y'all is. If y'all see this video, thank y'all, because even though, like, I ain't get jumped, I did get jumped at a point in time in my life. If y'all want to hear, the story about the time I got jumped, just let me know. But yeah, I did get jumped at a point in time in my life, but it wasn't right here. This was years later. Sandra was just like, yeah, I want to fight, all of that. So I knew I was about to fight. So I ended up giving my stuff to Jada. I gave her my purse and I had a jacket. She had my purse and my jacket. My purse, like, my phone and stuff was in my purse. Like, everything was in my purse. So yeah, I ended up giving everything to her, and I'm in my head, I'm just like, be her ass. Like, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. I'm just like, be her ass, Erilyn. Be her ass. I'm like, she steady talking shit. She been doing little petty shit. You getting tired of her. Just be her ass. Like, just be her ass. So, mind you, me and Cassandra, we're like, we not that far apart. We're not about trying to throw the first hit, because I'm like, you want to fight me. I'm like, I'm not trying to fight you. You trying to fight over this nigga that don't even want you. I'm like, but if you want to fight, we can. But I'm like, I'm not finna hit first. Like, I don't want to fight you. You want to fight me. I'm like, so you can come hit me. So she just still steady standing there talking, right? So out of nowhere, like, all of this happened so fast. So out of nowhere, what did I name the first sister? Okay, so the little sister, we named her Brianna. I think I already said that. So her little sister Brianna ended up, because she had a little sister and she had an oldest sister. The oldest sister name is Kayla. That ain't her real name, but we gonna call her Kayla in this. she don't really even need a name, so scratch that. It ain't gonna be no Kayla. It's just gonna be the big sister. Who really need a name is the little sister. Out of nowhere, Brianna just pushed Cassandra into me. Like, mind y'all, like I said, me and Cassandra wasn't that far apart. So like if she was to put her hand out, like, it wouldn't have hit me. But like, me and her was standing face to face. So Brianna just was like, fuck this shit, y'all ain't finna keep talking. So she pushed her sister into me. I wish my sister would. Like, baby, don't push me into nobody. She pushed her sister into me, and as soon as I saw Cassandra leaning right into me, I just threw my first swing and it hit her in the face. And like, me and her, we just fight. She got my hair, I got her. We just fighting. But mind y'all, I'm throwing them hits. I feel them landing. I'm throwing them hits. Like, she throwing hits too, but they ain't landing because I ain't feeling nothing. I think I didn't feel stuff because my adrenaline was rushing. And like, okay, a little side note, when I'm about to fight, I start, how can I explain this? My body starts heating up. Like, when I'm in a situation, when I'm in an altercation and I feel like I gotta defend myself and I feel like I'm finna fight, my body start getting hot. I start shaking on the low because I'm like, I start thinking about what I'm gonna do. I'm like, all right, Erin, this is what you gotta do. I start sizing them up. I start being like, okay, you could do this, you could do that. Mind y'all, when this happened, I'm not thinking of none of that. I'm just like, because my intentions was not to fight this girl. Like, I've said in my head, I'm like, I'm not finna fight this girl. Like, she's a 7th grader. I'm in the 8th grade. What do I look like fighting a 7th grader? But mind y'all, she was a tall 7th grader. Like, she wasn't that tall over me, but she was like an inch or two. I ain't gonna say she was 3 or more. Like, she was about an inch or 2 taller than me. So yeah, we fighting, and I feel them motherfuckers landing. Like, I feel my hits landing. So they ended up letting us fight for a little bit, and then they ended up breaking it up. So yeah, she was just like, y'all know how I fight. And she just still standing there talking shit. She like, yeah, bitch, whooped your motherfucking asshole, da 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 da. So I'm just like, girl, like, I ain't worried about none of that. At this point, I'm mad. I want to fight again because I'm like, bitch, you really just fucking tried it. Like, cause like, why is you sitting here trying to fight over a nigga? Like, you trying to sit here and fight me over a nigga? So all of that happened. Tiana, so Jada ended up giving me back my purse and stuff, and like, they ended up leaving and all of that. Me and Tiana walked back to the school. Mind y'all, when I walked back to the school, I walked back like ain't nothing happened, like I ain't just get to fighting, because I knew my coach was back. So I just walked back in, and she just knew something was wrong. So I walked back in. She was just like, where you been? I was like, oh, I was at the park and stuff. So mind y'all, I ain't even been back in her classroom for 5 minutes. I be here over her intercom. Yes, we need Erlen Strickland to the office. I said, what? But yeah, y'all, they said my whole name. So when they said that, I was like, oh my God. So she asked me, she was just like, what happened? And I knew she was going to find out anyway. So I just went on and told her. I was just like, me and Cassandra just got to fighting. And she was like, for what? She was like, you know what? Just go down to the office and I'll let you know. She was like, I'll just talk to you about it later. So, all of this happened so fast, y'all. All of this happened so fast because we ended up walking back to the school. We had to walk up them stairs. We had to go through 8th grade hall, 7th grade hall, just to get to the 6th grade hall. Because 6th grade hall was the first floor. No. Yeah, it was the floor at the top. 7th grade was in the middle. And when she first walked into the school, this 8th grade hall. So, yeah, we back in the classroom. Yeah, we weren't even in the classroom that long when they ended up calling my name over intercom. So, I ended up going downstairs to the main office and So this is how the middle school principal found out that we got the fighting. So the elementary school don't get out until like an hour after us. So damn. So the elementary school principal had called the middle school principal and basically like told him that some girls was behind the school fighting and stuff like that. So I ended up like, as I'm walking down the stairs, I hear yelling, but I hear a woman yelling. So I just heard some loud yelling. So she like, yeah, they fought my daughter and da 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 da. So I hear this. I'm like, that's her mama. Ended up making me sit down. I still hear the woman yelling and stuff. My principal, ooh, mind y'all, I ain't got on no nails, so don't mind me. I've been talking for 30 minutes without no nails on. It don't matter. But yeah, so mind y'all, my principal, I had two principals. I had a woman principal and I had a man principal. So at this time, she was talking to the man principal. The man principal knew me. He had mixed emotions towards me. Like, it'll be 1 minute he'll be cool with me, and then the next minute he'll like, let's say if the teacher wrote me up and I had to go to the office, they'll send me to him, and he'll just be like, ugh, what you do this time? And like, it'll be like, sometimes he'll mess with me, and then other times I get in trouble, like I like get in school suspension or whatever. But I feel like this time he messed with me, so we're not gonna get too far ahead. So yeah, so she was talking to the man principal. He was just like, ma'am, calm down, I understand and stuff like that. So she was like, yeah, that bitch. And so when she called me out my name, said this got a name, like I was, because I was still mad about the situation. So I didn't care about none of it. Like, I didn't care about who I was talking to at the time. I didn't care about none of it because I'm still mad. So I'm like, at this point, anybody can get it. I couldn't really remember what she said, but I know she called me a bitch because I was like, this bitch got a name. And so that's when she looked at me and she went back to talking to my principal. But yeah, I was like, this bitch got a name. And so she ended up looking at me and she ended up talking back to my principal. And my principal was just like, Erlyn, just go back to Miss Stewart's classroom and stuff like that. So I'm like, why would y'all even call me down here if y'all just gonna send me back up there? So they didn't call me back down to the office or whatever, and everybody else was upstairs getting dressed. And so I was talking to my coach about it, and I told her what happened. So she was like, oh, okay. And so like, she was just mad. Well, she wasn't mad, she was just like, you don't need to be fighting and stuff like that. And so she was like, but you can still cheer tonight. So I'm like, okay. So I ended up still cheering that night. We gonna backtrack. Once I went back to the classroom, my sister called me. So when my sister called me, I'm like, I know why my sister called me. So I'm like, dang, bro, somebody done told her I got the fight. Mind y'all, it didn't click to me that boy was recording. Like, I knew he was recording, but it didn't click to me like, oh, he gonna post the video. So during this time, he had already posted the video on Facebook and everything. So this girl who was Jada's best friend, Jada had a best friend. Jada's best friend don't need a name because she's not really in this story. So Jada's best friend texted my sister and was just like, your sister just got the fight. So Jada's best friend sent the video to my sister, and my sister watched the video. And after the video, my sister... So y'all, I'm back. My camera here ran out of storage. I mean, not my camera, my memory card, my SD card ran out of storage. So I had to go and delete some stuff, and then go all the way to my recently deleted and delete 400 videos, 400 clips that I done already edited and posted already. But that's besides the point. But yeah, so where was I? Okay, so my sister ended up calling me and was just like, why? Like, she started yelling at me over the phone. She was just like, why is you fighting? And I'm finna tell mama on you and all this. So while she yelling at me over the phone and she said that, I hung up in her face because I'm like, Bro, don't call my phone doing all of that yelling. Like, don't call my phone doing all of that yelling at me and knowing I'm still pissed off. Like, don't do that shit. That shit gets you hung up on. So I hung up the phone in her face, and 2 minutes later my mama called me. So I know she called my mama and she told her. Or she texted my mama and she told her. So my mama called me and she was like, so you fighting? Like, my mama started yelling at me. So I ain't hang up the phone on my mama, y'all. I ain't this stupid because my mama crazy. But she yelling at me over the phone, and I'm trying to explain to her like what happened, but like she don't want to hear it. Like, y'all know them parents that don't care about nothing that you gotta say. She don't want to hear it. My mama is one of them parents. She don't want to hear nothing that you gotta say. But I be still trying to get it out, because I'm like, nah, you finna hear what I gotta say, because you ain't just finna shut me out. You finna hear this. But yeah, so she was just like, I deal with you, man, when I get home and stuff like that. So I'm just like, whatever. So so I ended up going to go get dressed for my game and stuff. I'm mad because I'm like, man, now I'm probably gonna get, I knew I wasn't gonna get in trouble for fighting, because I had never got in trouble for fighting. But every single time I get to fight, my mama gives me a lecture. And this one, she really gave me a lecture. Like, I started crying with this lecture, because she really, she hit home with this one. But yeah, so like, I'm getting dressed or whatever, I'm getting ready for my game. We ended up going out to the high school gym, and because that's where the game was gonna be. It was gonna be in the high school gym. So we ended up going to the high school gym, and we ended up going to the game. Like, yeah, performing at the game. So as I'm performing at the game, like on like little halftime and breaking stuff, my coach was saying that, like, she was just like, I talked to your mom, you're good and stuff like that, like, you're not in trouble. I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, but in the back of my head, I'm like, girl, you do not know my mama. My mama finna yell at me when I hop up in this car. She is finna yell at me. Like, I know my mama, she finna yell at me. So, like, I guess she had gave her the little rundown of like what happened. So, like, what I told my coach told my mama. So, boom. So, okay, so mind y'all, let's backtrack. So, right before the game start, I ended up seeing my principal, who the mama was talking to, the man principal. I ended up seeing him, and he looked at me, I looked at him, and I was just like, look, I just want to go and get this out the way. Am I suspended or not? And he was just like, I don't know yet. I got to get all the details, and I got to go over it with Miss, we gonna name her Miss Graffia. So that's the other principal. That ain't her real name, but yeah, he was just like, yeah, I gotta go over with Miss Graffia and all of that. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. He was like, but you good. And so I'm like, okay. So I ended up going to cheer at the game and all of that. So fast forward, my mama ended up coming to pick me up from the game, and as soon as I got in the car, my mama asked me, she was just like, are you okay? This is the first question she asked me. She was just like, are you okay? And I said yes. Y'all, right after I said yes and we pulled out that school parking lot, she just started yelling at me. She was just like, what the fuck is you doing walking to the park? She was like, I don't send you to stay at the school to walk to the park. I send you to stay at school during your cheerleading, like during your cheerleading practice, or when you stay after school for a game, you're supposed to be at the school, not at the park. And I was explaining to her, I was just like, well, Mom, the park is right there by the school. I was just like, we just want to go to the park before the game. And like, she was not trying to hear none of that. She was just like, anything could have happened to you. She was like, you could have got kidnapped. Them girls could have had a weapon on them. They could have stabbed you and all of this. Like y'all, at the time, I was not thinking of that at all. I was not thinking that they could have went home, because they stayed closer by the school. I stayed by the school, but I rode the bus. They stayed by the school to where they could walk home. I rode the bus. So I stayed in the district. So if I would have walked home, it would have been like a 30-40 minute walk. But when they walk home, there's none but 5-10 minutes. So yeah, so she was just like, anything could have happened to you. You could have got kidnapped. They could have went home, got a whipping, and came back and planned that. And y'all, I was not thinking about that at all. And so like, she was just yelling at me, like, y'all, she was just yelling at me. And so like, we ended up getting in the house, and like, she's still yelling at me. She's still going on. And so she was just like, and you're not cheering no more, so you can give your uniform back to your coach tomorrow. Y'all, I really started crying because they hurt my feelings, because I'm like, you know that you, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, because y'all, I was so sad when she told me I couldn't cheer no more. I'm like, girl, how you gonna take something that means so much to me away from me? So she was just like, since you want to be out here fighting and doing all of that, you're not cheering no more, so you can give your cheerleading uniform back to your coach tomorrow. And so I was just in my room. I was crying. And I was just in my room crying, because I'm like, I can't cheer no more. I was getting my uniform and stuff ready. Like, I was packing everything good, because I had to give everything back to my coach tomorrow. So, and she asked me, she was like, are you suspended from school? And I was like, I don't know yet. Like, they didn't tell me that I was suspended. She was like, okay. So she was like, well, I'll call up there tomorrow. But she was like, you going to school tomorrow, and if they send you back home, just let me know. I'll come pick you up. So like 10 minutes later, she ended up coming in my room. I'm still crying at this point. I'm just sitting on my bed crying. And she ended up coming in my room, and she was just like, have you seen the video? So mind y'all, the video is still posted on Facebook. So she asked me, she was like, have you seen the video? And I was just like, no ma'am, like, I haven't seen it. And she was like, do you want to see it? And I said, yeah. So I saw the video, and y'all, I was doing my thing when I told y'all them hits was landing. Them motherfuckers was landing. Mind y'all, we gonna backtrack a little bit more. I know y'all tired of me backtracking, but we gonna backtrack a little bit more. Right after we got done fighting and like the girls and stuff walked away, I ended up asking Tiana, I was like, who won? I was like, who do it seem like who won? So she was just like, you won. Like, she just kept telling me, she was just like, you won. Like, you won it. She was like, she didn't win it, she lost. Like, you won it. And I thought she was just saying it, like, just to be saying it because we was friends. But y'all, once I watched that video, them hits was landing. Like, them hits was landing. Like, I was kicking this girl, I was punching this girl, I was doing everything. I didn't even know I was kicking her. So yeah, so like, I see the video and stuff. Like, I watched it. I had to watch it like twice, because I'm like, what, for real? So like, even though I got the fighting before, I was just like, what? So yeah, I watched the video and everything and all of that. So after I watched the video, I ended up going back to my room crying some more, because I ain't even thinking about that no more. The only thing I'm thinking about is my mama just took cheerleading away from me. So I ended up hearing my mama on the phone with my dad. My dad was just like, my mom had my dad on speaker. He was just like, did they jump her? My mom was like, nah, they ain't jump her. Like, she held her own. They was like, she was like, I'll give it to her. She held her own. She held it down. Like, against 3 girls, she held it down. And so my dad was like, good. Like, they ain't jump her and stuff. But, and so, my dad was just like, it ain't her fault. Like, yeah, she wrong for walking to the park, but that ain't her fault. Like, she ain't start that fight. That girl initiated the fight, and Lynn was just defending herself. So after that, my mama ended up coming to my room and was just telling me, like, you can still cheer. And like, she was just like, I'm not gonna take cheerleading away from you. Like, you can still cheer and stuff like that. And y'all, I was so happy. Like, she could see, I started smiling, because she could see the smile on my face. And y'all, I was so happy. I was just like, oh, I get to cheer and stuff like that. So the next day, I go back to school as soon as I walk in the building. Because we had the way we had to line up, we had to make a line in the 8th grade hall. 8th graders in one line, 7th graders in another line, and 6th graders in another line. And then we all, a teacher would come and get us all and escort us to our hall. Well, the 8th grade was already on their hall, so a teacher didn't have to escort us to a hall, but a teacher would come and get the 7th graders, escort them to the 7th grade hall, and a teacher would come and get the 6th graders and escort them to the 6th grade hall. So as soon as I walked into school, everybody was like, You and Cassandra got to fighting. You and Cassandra got to fighting. I seen the video on Facebook. You whooped her ass. You whooped her ass. And I was just like, y'all, I'm like, oh my God, y'all. Like, why? Like, y'all know we got to fight. Like, why? Like, y'all, it went on for the whole day. Like, the teachers knew we got to fight. I'm at lunch. Everybody at lunch knew we got to fight. And the next day I seen her at lunch. She looked at me. I looked at her. Nothing happened. Like, it was just like, yeah, we got the fight and it's over with. Boom. Like, y'all, that wasn't over with though. Like, she was still being petty towards me. Like, still doing stuff. Like, she ain't just get her ass beat. Like, girl, sit down. Do you want another one? Because you can get another one if you want one. But yeah, y'all, that's the story of my 8th grade fight. Like, she really fought me over a nigga that wasn't even hers. Like, that nigga was everybody's. That nigga was the other girl nigga. But yeah, y'all, she fought me over a nigga that wasn't hers. But that's all I gotta say. If y'all like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and let me know if you want to hear some more story times, because I got a whole bunch of them. And also subscribe to my channel so y'all can know when I post another video. I have a video that's dropping tomorrow, which is my summer diaries part 2. That video will be already dropped before this video even gets dropped. So yeah, but I'm trying to get into doing story times. I ain't really used to doing story times, but I'm trying to get into doing a little bit more. In my next story times, I'll go in a little bit deeper, because I like when people like go in and say every detail. But my camera is finna die. But thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in my next one.